Last Friday, Allison Cohn made her status FBF to a pic of me as a pipsqueak. Awkward. It got 59 likes and 12 comments. Impressive, Allie. Geico also has a comment on your Flashback Friday. Did you know Geico has been saving people money on car insurance for over 75 years? Bet you didn't even know they made cars back then. And if you think your flashback is awkward, you should see our pic. Hashtag blurry. Hashtag over 75 years of savings.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Put your name on it. Just put your name on it. That's all I say. Be a man or a woman. Put your name on it.
Well, I'd like to hear about it, potheads.
How the fuck you gonna know how to be great if you don't study greatness? Look at the game tape.
Donuts.
If you wanna battle, it's either that you will or you won't.
You know, you're not a bad-looking man, Mr. Gals.
But you are, Blanche. You are in that chair.
There's something wrong with us. Something very, very wrong with us.
Hey, man.
Stories podcast. Matt Berninger, lead singer of The National. First of all, welcome to my garage. It's fancy here.
Thank you.
Overhead, crazy overhead.
There's a full moon.
It is a nice. That's why as Al Pacino, I told you off mic. As Al Pacino once said to me, "That's our moon, babe."
Yeah, that's our moon.
And you called it what?
It's a waxing moon.
What does that mean? By
Although I think waxing is when it's getting bigger, and waning is when it's getting smaller.
I believe that is waxing tonight.
Could be 100% wrong about that.
No, I think you're right. It is because it was smaller last night, so that would mean tonight it's a waxing.
Well, I know it's going in that direction, but I don't know if that's called waxing or waning. Who cares?
I think waning is smaller.
It's getting smaller, so it's getting bigger.
Now it's a waxing moon. Let's just do moon. Let's do astrology tonight. The whole time. Here's what's great. I met you at the beach through a mutual friend, Sam Sheridan, who's been on here about 3 times. And I discovered your band, The National. Look, I know there's a bunch of dudes in your band, but we know you run the show. Get you in trouble with your band.
No.
Look, you can tell the Desners to kiss your ass. I know your band. But no, your band I had not heard of. I did not know about. And I'm kind of an audiophile, and then all of a sudden my wife and I are in a hotel room, and we punch up the documentary Mistaken for Strangers.
Just because Sam told you to?
No, just like, this looks interesting.
Oh, really?
And we didn't know what it was, and your brother Tom is like featured in like the ad, and we didn't know what it was. It didn't really look like a documentary. And then about halfway through, fascinating, the tour. First of all, any tour stuff pulls me in, like even Radiohead when they were good, before it sounded like robots fucking, meeting people is easy, like Grant Key, like just that schedule. You're like, it gives me anxiety, good anxiety watching it. And then watching you guys tour over and over and over and over, and then having a family member on tour kind of maybe making you a little nuts and maybe thinking, what the hell have I done?
Yep.
It turns out, I don't want to ruin it for the listener, but it's a documentary that should have been nominated for Best Documentary. It was damn fascinating.
We tried, actually. We did not. We thought it was worthy of that too. Sort of. We did, but yeah, we did a whole round of qualifying things for it, but we weren't.
For your consideration.
For your consideration, we were not nominated though, but it was just a pleasure not to be nominated amongst all the other people that weren't nominated. So.
What's weird about the documentary is it's supposed to be about how your brother Tom, through his best efforts, sweet guy, sweet kid, and it seems like on tour, kind of counterproductive, bit of a knucklehead, and the bane of your existence at times in that documentary.
Not just mine, but the bane of a few people's existence.
I was going to let you take over, so I wasn't just throwing shit at Tom for the first 5 minutes of the podcast.
Yeah.
But when the documentary was done, I went, that was a great movie. Who the fuck are these guys? And how do I get every album onto my phone immediately? So I'm 40 years old, and like, this is a very long compliment, not even a question. At 40 years old, everybody goes, where's all the good music? It's The National. It's fantastic. Like, I told you this on the phone this morning. Like, at 40, discover a new band with many, many albums and to go through it.
Mm-hmm.
I was flying to Calgary doing a gig on my way to the Comedy Shop. That's you're playing big theaters, and I'm at the Comedy Shop in Calgary in an industrial park. And I'm sitting in the airplane like, am I getting my period? I'm like, holy shit, I'm about to cry during the Apartment song.
Apartment Story, yeah.
Apartment Story. I was like, God, if you leave now, you're going to start a war. It's like, I'm not breaking up with anybody. And I'm like, I'm sitting there like, these people don't fucking understand me, man.
Yeah.
Well done, brother. And
thanks. Yeah, we write some sad songs. And we are, it's true, we are in indie world, we are a sort of a known thing, but like, but we're still, it's like, most of the indie world is still kind of under the radar, you know? It's like when Arcade Fire won Best Record, like so many people were like, who had never heard of that band? And in the indie world, they're sort of the Yankees of indie bands right now, you know?
Sellout. Now they're sellouts.
No, they're great. They're great.
No, I mean, but like to the indie people, to the hipsters, people are like, they were better when only I knew them.
Every band that ever has any kind of success, people turn away from them. I turned away from bands because they got successful when I was younger. I used to
Tell me who.
You know who it was? It was the Goo. I remember the Goo Goo Dolls. I used to love the Goo Goo Dolls.
And then Iris was a hit, and I said,
don't remember.
Screw those guys.
No, I can't remember. But yeah, all of a sudden they crossed over into. I mean, I don't even know if they actually changed what they were doing. I think I just got bummed because they were kind of like a cool bar punk band, kind of pop punk band thing that I was into, and then they got really popular. So I I'm a dick that way too. I was so.
Are you a hipster?
I was. I think I probably. Well, I mean, I listened to the Smiths in high school and grade school.
Well, that's not hipster.
But I mean,
that's good taste.
Well, there was still a thing. There was still like I identified and I aligned myself with like artsy fartsy stuff, and I turned my nose up at Van Halen and Rush and all that kind of stuff, and I was like one of those art school kids, wore
you literally,
black cloaks
Cincinnati art school, right?
Yeah. I mean, in high school, it was all art.
Literally, you were in art school.
I was a classic goth, black trench coat, combat boot.
And where'd you go to high school?
Cincinnati, Ohio, at
you're
a
Cincinnati.
place called St. Xavier. And my sister was a year and a half older than I was, and she was the one who was bringing home the cool music. So I was kind of hanging out with her and some of her friends, and they were into black eyeliner, and they're kind of gothy a little bit, and not crazy. The kind of the weakest version of goth, Cincinnati, Ohio goth in the 80s or whatever. But I was kind of a little bit of a music snob, I think. Even though I didn't know how to play anything, but my record collection was sort of the way some people align with sports teams, and get really passionate, and kind of my record collection was that for me, I guess, a way of defining myself against the world, I guess. It's
interesting because I think we all go through phases of that where you define yourself by your musical taste and collection, but it's a solo activity. Mm-hmm. Like you're wearing earbuds on a train, and you're like your big middle finger to the world, and they have no idea what you're listening to. Yeah. Like if you had a boombox, in the movie, John.
Say anything.
Say anything, John Cusack, and you let everybody in Cincinnati know, fuck you, man.
Yeah,
I'm listening to my stuff. I'm not like you.
Yeah.
Did you ever look back and go, or like now, do you listen to like Van Halen or U2 or big bands and go, well, I'm let some good water go under the bridge here. These are good tunes.
No, I think I grew out of that snobbishness, in college. I mean, it took a while, but that's when I started, breaking out of just whatever was the alternative, college radio stuff, and going back into and discovering other things that like you just said, discovering something that you had no idea. Like Tom Waits was that moment for me when I first heard Tom Waits, and the first time I heard him was like on a charity collection for something, and I thought it was like this big old black guy singing, so. And so I went to look for this guy, and I can't remember the name of the song. Big Black Mariah or something, was it? I can't. But maybe that's also why I thought it was a big black guy. But I went looking for his stuff, and all I could find at the local record store in Cincinnati was like an early years record. And on that record, Tom Waits is like skinny, and he's kind of and I was like, this is not the Tom Waits I'm looking for. And the guys the guy's like, get it, you check it out, it's good. I took it home, and it doesn't sound anything like later Tom Waits. Anyway, so my point was like, this is not the guy, but quickly it dawned on me, and I put the pieces together, and so Tom Waits' early career to his all later career, I just dove into that his whole career, and I think this was right around when Bone Machine and stuff came out of his records, but that was an amazing thing to like discover an entire catalog of somebody that you just didn't know anything about before.
And that's what happened to me.
Yeah.
And your songs, like you lived in Brooklyn. In the movie, you know, I'm not, you know, telling people your address or anything, but like you live in Brooklyn, and it is like hipster central, where it's guys in blazers and handlebar mustaches named Tyler with big giant, you know.
Yeah, that's here too. I mean,
well, yeah, parts of LA, but and you know, but you actually, it seemed through watching the movie and subsequently just meeting you in casual situations, you put on a suit and go to work. And I thought that really made you and your band, The Nationals, stand out. For you weren't judged by your six-pack abs or how ironic you were. Like when the music started, it is when you watch a movie, you're supposed to be watching the movie, and when you're walking on chairs all the way out to the back of the theater, and I'm supposed to be watching your brother fuck up because he forgot to get, you know, towels and water, etc. All hell's breaking loose, and I just keep rewinding because I'm like, these words are like the words. These words are amazing, and it's really a credit to pull out of that hipster scene. And I mean, do you feel like when you're in that scene and now you're back in LA and you're in, you know, where you live now, do you ever feel like, okay, how about this? Much more succinctly. Do you feel like I'm in a rock and roll band, I've made it? Or do you feel like we're working on it? Like what? Because I look at you and I'm like, fuck, like if I was in a band, this is the kind of band I'd be in. This is great.
I am in, I've always felt, even before we were successful, that I was in the band I wanted to be in, you know, and that we were successful. Even it wasn't as much. I mean, now we're financially successful, and it's relatively. I mean, you know, unless we write a bad record, then we're going to collapse like every band does. But I was always felt like our band did start right around the same. Our first record came out the same, like a few months after the Strokes' first record came out.
Yeah,
right?
and you also came out real quick, and I'm gonna let you do most of the talking. I think your band came out at a time when it's almost impossible to make it with the digital age and the downloads and stuff like that.
Well, I don't know. I know that it was impossible to get any attention in New York at that time. Well, it was impossible for our band to get any attention because we weren't. We were making we were making something that wasn't quite. I mean, our first record isn't that great. It's decent. I like it, but it's not our best record. But my point is,
well, thank God. It'd be awful.
Yeah. No, we've gotten better.
It'd be awful if your first record was the best.
We were
Van Halen
very aware of the Strokes and Interpol and Yeah Yeahs and TV on the radio and Liars and you know. Interpol practiced right next door to us, you know, in this little tiny, and they were, you know, doing photo shoots for Spin, you know, and we were getting turned down, you know, we couldn't get a gig anywhere, and like these guys who played right next door to us were like doing photo shoots, you know, I think it was a cover photo shoot even in Spin. Anyway, so all these very cool bands were blowing up everywhere around us, and we were aware that we were not in that wave, you know what I'm saying, and it kind of was a bummer to be, because we were trying hard and we were working hard, but then we never could write what we couldn't write a type of song. We couldn't chase a style or chase a thing. It was like with the five of us in the band, it was the songs that came out were like the only songs that could come out because of the weird chemistry and the people bringing different stuff to it. So it wasn't like that we could even say, oh, let's do a more punchier, something hookier or cooler. Like, we didn't know what.
Do it.
No, we didn't know what. We knew that the Strokes were cool. We knew Interpol was cool, but we didn't know how to do it like that. And so, I think we were lucky. I think the thing that happens with a lot of bands is that a lot of bands chase. They get so turned on by other contemporary stuff, and they're over influenced by it and chase it too much, and so that's why every time there's a great band that that comes on the scene, there's 20 bands right behind them that sound like them.
Yeah.
But just nobody cares because we don't need Strokes 2.0. You know, the Strokes are the Strokes, and there were so many bands that were Strokes.
The Hives came out right then.
There were. I bet I could. If we sat there, there were 30 bands. They're like, yep. They wish they were the Strokes. They wish they were the Strokes.
These guys wear white suits. Those guys wear blue suits.
Yeah.
They wear black suits.
Yeah, and the
These
White
guys
Stripes
dress
the same
whatever
thing.
they want.
White Stripes came out, and then all these other people trying to do that. And so, and I'm not saying we didn't actually try to write. I'm not saying we weren't somewhat influenced.
Those
by
must
the
be
Strokes,
great outtakes.
but we just couldn't do it
When you guys were trying to write like hits.
Yeah,
I would love to hear those tapes.
Yeah. Okay.
You guys probably did it degenerate. Did you ever like go?
You would.
No. Did you ever try to like just write like where the streets have no name and it degenerates into like what the fuck are we doing?
So the weird thing is we very rarely have we set out and said like, oh, let's do one in this kind of style. But everybody, the way that we write songs is there's Aaron and Bryce, who are twins. They're both just writing tons of little guitar sketches and piano sketches, and Brian's always writing stuff, and Scott's always doing different stuff at the bass. So everybody's in their own sort of like little labs, like trying different things. So I'm trying to write different types of songs. When we crush it all together, it's the songs just are a scramble of ideas a lot of the times, and no one of us is like, you know, like setting the course for a song or, you know, saying exactly which way it should go. I mean, we all push and pull, but
Matt, that's what I mean. That fascinates me. Like, you got two sets of brothers in the band, and one set of brothers is the rhythm section. The other set of brothers had a damn record label.
Yeah, I mean, Bryce is a classically trained. Aaron's a big producer on stuff.
Yeah, so like when you guys do things individually in your own separate bubbles, and then when you get together to quote unquote collaborate, and for it to mesh that way, to me is doubly impressive. And the fact that you never tried, and you knew inherently, your words, that it would be well, I'm paraphrasing, a fool's errand to try to write something
to
catchy,
chase something else,
because that wasn't the national. Because as a comic, I see guys playing theaters that hold 3,000 people when I'm at like Uncle Sputchy's Chuckle Hut in fucking Ames, Iowa. And I'm like, I would murder this guy at his own goddamn family reunion. There's no rhyme or reason to it. I don't get it. But I can't write like that guy, and I wouldn't want to write like that guy because I think my stuff's better.
Yeah.
So was it ever frustrating when you're watching? Like, yeah. That was just like, here we are. We don't even have a fucking bassist. Boom! Like through the roof. Was there ever a time where it got frustrating, or did you just have the steady confidence of an egomaniac narcissist like myself going, I know this will work. I don't give a shit what anybody else.
We had a healthy amount of that, just pure belief in what we were doing, but we also had a considerable amount of insecurity and anxiety, and we fought, and we were stressed out, and we
with each other you fought.
Yeah, because like we were struggling, and we were like spending a lot of time on the road and like sleeping on floors, and it was hard, and none of us had families or anything at the time, so it wasn't that hard, but it was just humiliating sometimes, playing lots of shows where nobody was for a couple of years. And then the darkest time was, and there's actually, I don't even know if you can find it. I think you can find it somewhere. There's a small documentary that was made about this. We went into, we had our third record coming out, which was the first one that was on a label other than kind of putting out on our own, called Alligator. And it was our big chance. This was like, we were going to do it right. This record we were really excited about.
You leave Brass Band and you go to after you left Brass, and you went to
Brass Band was kind of our own label that we started, which at the time was just
very smart.
It's a real label now, but at the time it was kind of, we just made a logo and put
but you know what? It's that's how you pocket a lot of cash if you keep that train rolling.
Yeah,
you should have stayed.
No, people have gone back are buying our first two records. I know we should have stayed, but the thing is, had we stayed, I don't think anybody would have found out about us. We signed to Beggar's Banquet, which we got really lucky. Barely signed. I mean, we did a show in Paris that I knew some people in Paris, and they brought all their friends, and so a guy from London flew down to see us because we stacked the show with a bunch of hot Parisian ladies.
There you go.
And so he thought we were going to be this hot New York band. And he realized shortly that like we didn't have much going on, but they signed us, and he loved the record, and so we put out Alligator. So we were ready to go out and make
plant our flag in the world. We were tired of being in the shadows, and we heard this record from this other band. There was some friends of ours in Brooklyn. They just finished their record in this band called Clap Your Hands, Say Yeah, and they're like, "Hey, can we go on tour with you guys?" Or I don't. We may have called them, said, "You guys want to go open our tour?" And we had a pretty significant, for that point in time, tour as far as like a little indie band, and those guys didn't have anything. And they're like, yeah, so we set up this whole tour. Meanwhile, like a few weeks later, their record leaked. It became an internet phenomenon, and like it blew up. And it was like they were on in the New York Times and all.
And they're your support band.
They're our support band. And so what happened was, as soon like their thing, it was like one of the.
But they're done now, right?
They've
because I've actually never heard of this band.
They split up.
I'd like to think my audio knowledge is pretty tight.
The indie world, and they're a great band. They're a great
not
band.
Anymore. They ain't, Matt.
They
can kiss my ass.
What happened?
I didn't see their documentary at the St. Regis Hotel.
Don't get mad at them.
I'm not mad at them. I'm just in love with you.
I'm saying,
and what you're doing.
What happened?
AmericanMary.com.
So we go into
for all national news.
The whole tour is sold out, and we get all excited. Of course.
Not sold out because
we start doing shows.
Oh no!
And the place empties out. So the places are emptying out after the opening band, and so we're getting so excited. We would be in the backstage in the dressing room, and like after the first 2 nights had happened, we'd be back there and just like hearing them finish their set upstairs, and then just hearing the footsteps, just the mass exodus. Like we'd be underneath it, and it was dark. And we were
how big were the rooms? Or what are we talking?
Not big, but a few hundred.
But good, like the Troubadour.
Yeah. Troubadour
like that
places.
size, right?
Exactly.
If you live in LA, the Troubadour. If you live in New York, a third of the Ritz.
Yeah, and we might have even done
a third of Roseland.
There's a good chance we did Troubadour on that tour, and like anybody was there, there were probably 10 people after Clap Your Hands were done who stuck around to see us.
Did it ever?
But it was the thing that like kind of steeled our sort of nerves and thickened our skin more than anything. And a funny thing happened. There was a sort of a boomerang effect of all the hype for that band, and then enough people were coming to the shows, and a lot of like people were sticking around. A few people were sticking around, or some, and they're like being kind of maybe blown, like surprised by this band, the National, they'd never heard of. So in a strange way, it was humiliating, and it was a dark time. But I think that was the turning point for us. Really, was when the press started saying, "Oh, Clap Your Hands
also
was great,
on the bill.
Also, the surprise.
The headliners.
Yeah, it was happened to be the headliners. Didn't totally suck.
Did it ever occur to you guys? I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Did you ever say like, "Do you guys want to switch and make it easier for everybody?"
We
or
did
does
it.
a record label, real quickly, does a record label and managers get involved and go, "No, they're not getting paid the headline. You're not putting them on last."
We were friends with, and we still are friends with those guys, and so it was awkward for everybody. They. I mean, they were like, oh man, they're good dudes. They're like, holy fuck, we're sorry, dude. And we're like, it's not your fault. Congratulations. And it was going great for them.
Was it hard to follow? Like musically, was your band?
No,
there was
we never had any doubts about whether. I mean, if you listen to our two bands, are diametrically different,
right. But you know, there's just some comics you don't want to go on at. Like I don't want to go on after Ralphie May because he's fucking destroys, and you go up there like.
No, yeah, there was a little of that. I mean, they were.
You got to wait for people to get their shit together before you even start talking.
They were awesome. They were awesome live. The songs on that record, their first 2 records are great, but that first record was a phenomenon, and people went crazy for it.
So you did actually ask the Flip Flop?
A few. We kind of did. We decided to like co-headline after that when we swallowed our pride,
quote unquote.
And it was a dark time, and we had
do you have to
kind of
keep that from the suits?
No. We talked.
Because there's money involved.
There was. I mean, it was one of the money of it. We didn't. There wasn't that much. We weren't making any money. We're all.
I know, but look, I'll tell you what.
All
look,
that mattered was
we all know that. Look, there's a place I played in New Jersey for $10,000.
Mm-hmm.
I do one show.
Yeah.
They're gonna give me $10,000. But here's the deal: it's cash.
Yeah.
And it's a mom and pop. I think it's like at Holiday Inn Express. Literally, come Saturday in like Hasbrook Heights, New Jersey, we'll give you $10,000.
Right.
Cash. That's the deal. And then the guy gives me an envelope, and they're the sweetest couple in the world, the older couple. There's $9,000 in the envelope. I go, hey, brother, I think you gave me a haircut here. And he goes, oh, no, CAA, they get. I'm like, you represent fucking Clayton Kershaw of the like. How do you know I'm at this place? Let alone take $1,000 before. Like, it fucking blew my mind. So I know you and the band are friends, but if the suits, you know,
but it had nothing to do with money because there really wasn't any money. There was the band even selling out of like 200 or 300 people in a room.
Yeah.
You take away a couple $100 and it's gas and maybe you can squeeze all into 1 or 2 cheap motor ends. You know, nobody makes any money until you are getting big festival things, but nobody cares about it at that point.
It's festivals where the money is.
That's
now?
festivals and stuff.
It's not
and then you get
record sales. I was going to ask you,
sales.
do you make? You said now the band is financially solvent. You guys are all doing okay.
It's all about touring. Touring.
Okay, so the money is the live. What you can do? It's the same as being a comic.
You know, if you're one of the top shelf sellers of records like Kanye or Adele or something like that, you make a lot of money on that stuff. But like that's the top half of a percent of
you're
musicians.
You're about to hit a
out
recession because I looked at your website, AmericanMary.com, and you're playing like Spain.
Yeah, we don't have a whole lot of shows.
And like 6 months later, you're in like Portland, Oregon, and like 6 months after that, you're in like
we're getting
Australia
like $10 million for that one Spain show.
For like a night.
No. No, yeah. We're
people assume you're like
studio.
a multi-millionaire.
No, yeah. I mean,
my friend,
I think a lot of people think you gotta. It's like musicians that are do really well are kind of still barely paying rents and mortgages and stuff like that. I mean, like we're doing really well now.
Would you agree with me that
I just bought a house for the first time in my life. I'm 44, so that was the first time I could have enough money to purchase a little house. But I'm not. It's awesome, and we have a very healthy career. But back then with the clap your hands thing, and still now is always about like we swapped with them and we ate our pride because we're like, wait, there's 300 people up there now. And they're going to stay to watch Clap Your Hands. So let's go on first and have them check us out first. Make them stick around.
Yeah.
And check us out. And that's what we did. And we ate our pride. And that's how we got discovered. Opening for our own opening band.
Friend of mine's in a band that is incredibly popular. And he told me, I'll tell you off mic because I don't want to tell people what he makes. But he told a drummer buddy of mine who's been on this podcast. And he said, the most he ever made in his life in 1 year in this band was $300,000.
Really?
My fucking jaw hit the floor. Like, I have all the like everybody. If I said the name, you'd go, "That's impossible."
Right.
And it's like, is it safe to say?
Is it that's how much he made, or that's how much he saved?
No, that's that's the most money he ever grossed, not netted.
Grossed
$300,000. Play drum for a very wildly popular.
So he netted even less. Wait, no, net.
Yeah, gross. The net is what you catch.
Yeah, and that's what you put in your account.
Yeah, and there's only 3 founding members,
How
2
much
guys
did their
on
manager
salary.
take? Yeah,
I don't know, but is it safe? My question is.
That sounds like he's got a really bad. I don't know what band you're.
No, it's
about,
not. It's when you're playing 1,200 seat theaters and you got to split it up and divvy it and do that and all that. My question to you was: is there this giant rock and roll middle class that the people walking the streets listening right now don't even really realize? They just think you're making $10 million. Yeah. You're in the National. You're fucking rich.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. It is. I think the music business for musicians is in many, many ways healthier and a more fertile sort of place to have a career and make money than it ever was.
Really?
Yes, because there are, for whatever reason, and thank God, or thank the heavens of...
Thank Joe Pesci.
You're saying Joe Pesci, but so many more people go to see live music now than they did 20 years ago or 10 years ago, and that's why there's all these festivals. So you can tour around and get a couple of festival spots that'll kind of help pay for... If you can get on some of the festivals, like those festival slots will help pay for the next 3 nights of your tour, and then you can plug away and you can get out there. I think back to get anything on the radio or to like get any kind of to go tour and have places to tour, that towns that had rock clubs, it was so hard. It was like anybody that became a musician, professional musician back when Dylan and then Led Zeppelin, all those guys were doing it. Hardly anybody was doing it because it was just a strange, impossible world to get into. Now everybody, like half the people I know, have been in a band or are starting a band, and some of them have done a lot of them have done really well. And I think it's because there's so many more people go out and see live stuff, so you can make a little bit of money there. And with the internet and all the blogs and all the forums and all this kind of stuff, you can slowly develop a fan base without ever being on a cover of a magazine or ever being on the radio. Clap your hands and say, yeah. Didn't even have a record label, and through the internet, people found that record, and they got rich. You know, didn't get rich, but they were massively successful without having any of the things that a band used to have. I think what happened to them, and I think it was
plane crash.
No, it was I think it was a weird time anomaly. Pitchfork, do you know what Pitchfork is? Pitchfork is a website. And
they review bands mostly, and they go like, "Hey, this is one of the records of the year."
It's kind of Pitchfork.
I loathe it, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah, well, I mean, Pitchfork.
They never say, "This is the best record this year." They go,
"No, they do.
This is one of the best records of the past 5 years," and that doesn't really tell me a lot.
Right.
They always
are a big list.
They're always around. Like when people say he is arguably one of the top 15 quarterbacks in the NFL, you're like, "Well, there's only 32 teams."
Right.
But yes, I know what Pitchfork is. I digress.
No. They do. I mean, it's. I mean, all these. There's a lot of versions of Pitchfork, and there was a time when Pitchfork was sort of the tastemaker, and they still, there's a few of them, but they're not. They were kind of on their own. They were sort of like out there as the new way to read and discover music for music snobs, right?
Really? For so I should actually take what I said back. I'm being serious.
No.
I didn't know they were like cool.
It's still,
if you were in a band, they were really like.
I still check into Pitchfork to see what maybe I should buy.
You know what, Pitchfork?
However,
I didn't know you were the real deal. And when you come review some stand-up comedy sometime.
I didn't come here to do a Pitchfork commercial, but my point is that at the time with Clap Your Hands, Pitchfork was like. It was the hot new thing, and so Pitchfork could make a band, could launch a band, and hype it up, and that band could like every website all over the world, people were checking out what Pitchfork had to say. It
was like the AP.
Yes, at a time it was kind of the go-to place to find out what is the cool new stuff. And Clap Your Hands, that first record, kind of was one of their first records that they just championed like you couldn't, and rightfully so. It's a beautiful, amazing, hilarious, fun record. But I think then there was a big backlash against not even quite the band itself, but just the fact that a website could just overnight a band that records that's not even on a label just make it this hyper globally buzzed about thing. I think there's a backlash against that, against the coolness of like what it's like there was a lot of like people hated the hip stuff and like, oh god. So there's a like eye rolling thing that quickly followed all the hype, and the backlash started. So I think Clap Your Hands actually got kind of smothered in a misdirected backlash, or something, because their second record is also really creative and exciting, weird, not as good as the first one, but pretty great. But people turned against them. And it was still silly. So there was a weird. I don't even know why we were talking about all this. But
no, because I asked you why they broke up.
There was. Oh yeah, you asked me why they broke up. But so I think they all kind of tried to like change what they want to do, because it was just all part of this whole hype story and then backlash story, and all they wanted to do was just make records. And then it became.
Well, let's talk about your records. It's not a Clap Your Hands, say yeah commercial. If we're not going to do a Pitchfork commercial, right. You guys make fantastic records. Boxer is my personal favorite. No, don't say. If you say this, I'm kicking you out. I would like to think we haven't made it yet. You know the question by the answer, right?
What do I think is our favorite record? Or
what's your best record?
Our best record?
Jay, I would like to think we haven't made it yet. Fucking douche.
No, I have a constant anxiety that we have made our best record, and it's
interesting.
And so we're constantly.
Right, but if you had to pick one to show aliens that come down from the rubble of what we've done here,
I do like the last one we made the most of all of them. But it's weird because I can't listen to them.
Trouble Will Find Me.
Yeah, I can't.
That album's terrible.
I can't listen to him.
What a weirdo that you
right
like
now,
that album.
I still can't listen to him.
It's hard to listen to yourself. It is.
I do
right?
I listen to our music all the time, but it's hard.
Maybe you have to. If you're going out on tour and there's a couple songs, you got to get your act together. I was talking to Steve Gorman from the Black Crowes, And I told him I love the
Is
album.
that the guy who only made 3?
No, I would never out my dude. That would be 2. Steve Gorman said, I love the album Lions, and he doesn't like the album Lions by Black Crowes. And then they wanted to play, I don't know, fucking Ozone, some song off of Lions. So, but they forgot how to play it. So they put the CD in on the bus, and the band's just listening to Lions. And then they all looked around, they're like, we all thought we hated this album. This is great.
Yeah, well, that happens to us a lot.
And so they had to listen to their own album to relearn.
Oh, yeah.
That happens? Is that normal?
I don't know how many songs we have, but there's probably like 60 songs that we are pulling from to put set lists together. And there's, if we're doing like 25 songs in a night, there will be 15 of those that are going to be the same over a tour.
How'd you like to be in the Stones? Have 160 and be 160 years old.
Yeah, I know. But
with a walker with tennis balls on the bottom.
We're like, we're going to do that one tonight. They play it on the PA, and we play along to it on stage while we're sound checking and I have to remind myself of I have to run through lyrics of songs.
You need a cue card, man.
What's that?
We need a cue card guy like Wally from Saturday Night Live. Just banging through the cue cards.
The band is threatening to get a what you call it?
Monitor.
Yeah. But I don't think they understand.
It makes sense, but a part of you dies.
It would ruin.
Safe to say?
For me, I'm pretty sure it would absolutely ruin. Maybe if it were off to the side, where it was just there, if I could turn around, I could look at it. If I was totally lost, But if it's in front of me, which I see, we toured with bands, open for bands that sometimes had them in front of them.
Let's hear it. Who was it?
Well, REM had.
By the way, Steve Gorman's got more money than fucking Jimmy Page and Dave Grohl combined.
That's good.
That son of a bitch.
But
me and you were sweating it out here.
But Michael Stipe had one, and it was like I could see.
So Michael Stipe has a monitor.
But I don't think he actually looked at it very often. And they had so many songs. Nick Cave is a big binder that he'll go over to, and with laminated pages, like a giant black binder, and he'll flip through pages to get to the next song and stuff like that.
Where does he keep it?
It's up on a podium. On a piano? It's on a not a podium, but on a music stand, I think.
Really?
And it's I kind of when I saw him do that, I was like, that's kind of badass. He's not trying to.
But that's because you like Nick Cave.
What's that?
I think that's because you like Nick Cave.
Nick
we
Cave.
all like Nick Cave.
Yeah.
I think if somebody...
He can do anything.
If it's somebody we didn't like, we'd be like, look at his asshole with his notes.
Right. No, it's true. But it's true. Nick Cave can pull off shit that no one else can pull off. Absolutely.
You did Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you about that. Listen to these commercials quickly, and then my man will be right back with Matt Berninger.
Baseball season finally here, and guess what? The excitement is more than it's ever been because DraftKings.com is the official daily fantasy partner of Major League Baseball. Daily fantasy means no season-long commitments, instant cash, instant gratifications. At DraftKings.com, it's like a brand new season every time you play. Select 2 pitchers, 8 position players, and stay under the salary cap, and you could be on your way to an enormous payday. Last year, Peter from Colorado. By the way, what's up, Peter? I know you're listening. What's up, buddy? Peter from Colorado won $1 million at DraftKings in one day. How did he do it? Oh, I don't know. Playing fantasy baseball at DraftKings.com. I'm trying to get you guys money. Hundreds of thousands of fantasy sports fans just like you have already cashed in at DraftKings. It's your turn. Go to DraftKings.com now and enter the promo code Mohr. M-O-H-R. Play for free. You could win part of the $300 million in prizes being awarded this season. Use promo code Mohr, M-O-H-R, for free entry now at DraftKings.com, DraftKings.com, DraftKings.com.
When shopping for car insurance, consider this. Geico has been saving people money on car insurance for over 75 years. So if you're serious about savings, it's simple. Go to Geico.com. After 75 years, they know how to save you money.
Okay, so you do Saturday Night Live. I'm going to talk to you about that in a second because I can never talk enough about it because it's too bizarre and too... I wrote a goddamn book about it.
All right, yeah.
But your songs, The National, are in a lot of TV shows where I'll go, now that I'm full in and the music's fresh to me, because at 40 years old, I dove headfirst into the National catalog. Mm-hmm. Do you... I would think... an artist, I'm not calling you an artist. I'm kind of putting it out there with a question mark, like maybe an artist. Like when you let them play one of your songs in the middle of like an episode of House.
Uh-huh.
I mean, does a part of you die, or
No.
does a part of you go, I just banged out my mortgage for 4 months?
No, I mean, depends on what it is. I mean, we had a song in a Saturn car commercial way back, and we remember the condition.
Hold out for the caddy, bro. What's wrong?
I
with
know.
you?
we needed
We needed to eat, JJ.
We needed to make money to make another record. I think it was before Alec. I can't remember what the fuck. Anyway,
you can curse, just so you know.
Okay,
but
and that was like. They told us it was going to be a hybrid, and then we finally saw the commercial, and it wasn't a hybrid. I don't know how they got away with that, but
is that important to you that it's a hybrid?
Well, it was kind of one of these things that, like,
I'm not going down a rabbit hole with you about fucking energy.
That's how we justified selling our song to a car commercial, because it's a hybrid. I mean, the truth was, we needed that we needed the money. I think we got $60,000, and that helped. Everybody
split it 5 ways.
Yeah, split it 5 ways, and
you got to cut like 4 guys out of this
making the next record and stuff.
You got to cut both brothers out. I just think you and one Desner could pull this off.
But I like when our songs are in like TV shows and stuff. It's funny.
It probably catches it by surprise because you forget, and then it's on in the background and you hear it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember which show it was. I think it might have been the OC, but I'll say this in terms of like being a musician now. That's another place where musicians and little bands can make money. There's so many shows, so many networks, so many different things, and they're filling those shows with music. They all need music. There's so many indie movies and stuff that you can if you can get some licensing, if you get a good somebody who's gonna put your stuff in front of music supervisors' ears and stuff. That's a whole place that you can send your kids to school on, public school, But I mean, it's like I'm just saying.
Speaking of school, Matt, I want to tell everybody
this. Not a lot of money, but it's like you can pay.
No,
your
I
rent.
understand that, and people need to know this. The best way you can support this podcast is by going to my website, jmohr.com. There's an Amazon banner. Banner means rectangle. Fancy word for rectangle. And what you want to do is, if you're shopping at Amazon. Don't go to Amazon.com. Remove it from your toolbar entirely. Replace that with jmohr.com. Lots of content on my website. You guys have a great website. I got to get this reading, but real quick, like you have a forum, which I could never have the balls to put a forum because eventually somebody's going to say, you fucking suck.
Yeah,
and I will be incapable of logging on and going, fuck you, dick.
Really?
How about that? How about Louisville sucks? You ever think of that? Get out of your town. It smells like burnt oil.
Yeah.
But real quick, go to the
stuff,
Amazon banner at jmohr.com. Buy whatever you want. Like my friend Todd Pfeiffer, who says, Dear JJ, hey, man. That's kind of like our Baba Booey. Hey, man.
Okay. Hey, man.
Hey, man. It's Richard Pryor, the wino versus, hey, man. I fly C-130s for the United States Army, and I can't tell you what your podcast means to me and my crew. I respect you and your crew being whoever's on the podcast the Monday when it pops up automatically on my phone, and then he puts in parentheses, yes, I do have the app, and if you don't have the app, why don't you have the app? Question mark and parentheses. A lot of the times, Jay, we're in the air for so long, and it is dreary, boring, and how do I put it? Oh, yeah, boring, all capitals. Thank you for doing what you do. My wife shops on Amazon frequently. She recently redid our entire bedroom, high thread count sheets, pillows, shams. Never knew what a sham was, but I got a shitload of them right now, JJ, and we did it all at jmohr.com using the Amazon banner. So thank you very much. Your friend, Todd Pfeiffer. Thanks, Todd.
Were you reading that?
Yeah, right here. Right here. In the fine
That's
print.
a blank piece of paper. You just made that up.
How hard is it to be in... Wouldn't that be great if I made that up and pulled his name and C-130s and just pulled that out of my ass? How hard is it to be in a band with two sets of brothers? First of all, it's kind of creepy and weird. But when you put shit to a vote in the National...
Yeah.
If the Dresners go, well, we think, do the brothers ever vote apart, or are they always voting as a block?
And
does your vote?
It's weird.
Three-part question.
We try not to do we very rarely does something have to come to a vote.
Set list. No vote?
No. It's
Who
Aaron.
makes it?
Aaron always makes the set list.
Why Aaron? Who cares
He
about
likes
Aaron?
to.
He's
He likes it.
Really?
Aaron is a strategic thinker constantly. I mean, we have a bunch of different personalities, and I don't know. I honestly, this sounds silly, but I don't know if we would be where we are if any one of them wasn't there, because we all do things very differently. But Aaron, for example, is he's a shrewd, strategic thinker and businessman and stuff. He also the main songwriter, writes most of the early sketches that turn into songs. His brother is also
he's the lead guitarist and writes the music, and then you come in and you fill it in with your beautiful words.
Those guys write, mostly Aaron, but also Bryce, write little guitar sketches and that have, sometimes they have many different parts, sometimes they're just like one little loop of the same thing over and over again. They just send me stuff. I start singing to it and start writing lyrics to it, and then send back and forth. But Aaron does the set list. Aaron's he's a great.
Have you ever? I'm set list obsessed.
Yeah.
And in my mind, when I'm listening to a band, there's times I'll be on a flight after I wake up from like a nap, and I'll listen to a band, and I will go fictional concert, and I'll just do the set list using shuffle, and I'm like, this concert's great.
Right. Yeah.
Just like I'm that.
Yeah.
What's the word? Crazy, I think is the word for what I'm doing. Or passionate is another word. Has Aaron ever made a set list? He has to be. You don't do a lot of screaming. You know, your style and what your band is doing. You're not really a screamer. There's times where you certainly get after it. But there's times. I asked Joe Perry this question, and he said they used to take a vote. And X or Y, and it would go around about 14 different times. And then they realized, you know what? Let's just tell Steven, make the set list. And then that was it.
Yeah.
Because Steven Tyler.
Yeah.
But your band, much different, obviously, than Aerosmith. But are there songs that you have to tell Aaron, I need to do that a little later in the show because it'll ruin my voice for the rest of the show?
Yeah. I mean, every time he'll do a set list. Most of it I'll know what's gonna. But then he'll switch things up, and we'll take a look at it. And if I think like I can't sing those two in a row, that kind of thing. But I'm
Does
happy.
it fascinate you? Do you ever ask Aaron why these three in a row? I'm not against it.
No, I
just
get it.
I'm super like this.
He's
good
at it. He's good at it.
Any covers?
We almost never do covers. I mean,
has Aaron ever just dropped in like, "Hey, we're doing Born to Run tonight"?
No,
and you're like, "Wait, what?"
No, we're not. I wish we were that kind of band. I mean, actually, those guys could be that kind of band. I'm not that kind of singer. I can't just like. You can't just play a song and I'll know the lyrics to it. The truth is, I have a really hard time even remembering my own lyrics.
How about clap your hands and say, "Yeah"? You seem to be a big
I know
fan
all
of them
lyrics. Yeah.
So Aaron makes the set list, and
I like the fact
according to what you're telling me, just pretty much nails it every night.
He does a good job.
And 15 songs out of what 25 a night are different.
About 10 out of 25 are different every night. Like if we're on a tour, we'll usually know that these are our 15 must-play songs. Those change a little bit, but
you ever open with your closer? The old stand-up comedy trick: open with your closer, and then see if you build your wings on the way down off the cliff.
I don't. Well, we've swapped. We've tried different.
Mr. November. What do you close with?
This last tour, I think like there's there's an encore, which is I always think encores are hilarious because it's just a break, It's like everybody knows you're coming back. If you're the headliner, you go off with the thing, unless everybody just leaves, which has happened to us. When we were planning an encore, we're like, whoop, I guess no encore tonight.
Yeah, let's go home.
Anyway, what are the last few that we do? I mean, like Terrible Love now is always like works at the end. But the one thing that we've been doing a lot of is Vanderlau Crybaby Geeks. We do an acoustic version where that's the last thing we end on a lot because it's like we turn off all the amps and we kind of just sing in the room, and it's kind of fun. It's pretty cool. That was Bryce's idea. We played at the Ryman Amphitheater in Nashville, and like that has incredible acoustics.
There's no better theater in the world than the Ryman.
This was like a long time ago.
The Ryman is insane.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Incredible.
And so he's like, "Hey, we're at the Ryman. Let's just unplug everything and just sing it with his acoustic."
Bryce, what is up, buddy?
This was about five
Bryce.
years ago, and we do that a lot now with Van.
Not Mr. November.
Mr. November's towards the end. Mr. November's, Yeah, no, actually, Mr. Berninger's usually in the encore.
So I'm in the ballpark.
What's that?
I mean, I'm new to the band, but I'm in the ballpark.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Like, I'm full in.
Yeah.
I'm sold. I love your band.
Thanks.
People don't realize this. About a month ago, you and I are just sitting on the beach together with our kids, and I thought, I just watched the documentary, and I'm like, he's got to like this better than Brooklyn.
Oh, do I like it better out here than Brooklyn?
You have to.
I love Brooklyn when I was poor and single and childless. And actually, I liked it when I was poor and married and before I had a kid. It was just fun. I mean, I fell in love with my wife there, everything. It's like the band started there. I mean, we're all from Cincinnati, but the band really didn't. That's where everything happened for me. I had a great job in New York. Moving to New York from Cincinnati was like, I felt like I walked into a Woody Allen movie. It was the greatest thing in the world. And I lived there for 17 years. And my first job was a graphic designer, like new media. And it was, I went there right out of college. But Scott, who's also in the band, we both worked together at this big new media company. And we both did well. We were like creative directors.
Is Scott a Devendorf or a Desner?
Scott Devendorf.
But brothers.
And then we started the band. He called his brother.
You get so many brothers in your band, you should start a team, a basketball team.
And then my brother made a doc.
Brothers.
But so to answer your question, when about a couple of years ago, my wife and daughter and I came out here because her parents live in L.A., although she never planned to move back here necessarily. And my daughter was just like, I saw my daughter running on the beach, we had a little backyard. And I was like, yeah, I can't. And I loved it. And I felt too, I needed the whole, Brooklyn rock and roll sort of incestuous sort of little thing. That wasn't that big, but I just felt like I just needed fresh air from it all. And so we moved.
The thing I always said when I lived in Manhattan for 18 years, and then you're just on cement. Yeah. And then here you go to 7-Eleven, you park your car, and you literally have to walk across like a patch of grass to get through the front door of like a convenience store.
Yeah.
When you have kids, when you get to people mock us. My wife pointed this out. She's born and bred in Santa Monica. She said all the insults people give you about being in L.A. are like positives. Like, what are you gonna do? Go to L.A. and chill out?
Right.
Eat good and do yoga. Like, I'm gonna go to the beach, brah. You're like, I didn't know that was a bad thing.
It's bad for the image of our band because we have a brand of being like this dark, smoky bars and like I think people have an image of me walking through the rain in Brooklyn
in a nice suit.
In a nice suit, smoking cigarillos or something. And
I like that you wear the suit,
which
on
I
stage.
do that. I do that all the time. But
they don't know you fly every Tuesday.
I love LA,
and you
also,
come back on Fridays. You fly to Brooklyn to walk in the rain. They don't know that about you.
Yeah, I do that every weekend.
How do you get the call to be on
I'm
Saturday
actually flying
Night
to
Live?
Brooklyn on Saturday.
Are you really?
Yeah.
How do you think? Serious question. This question is going to sound crazy, but I really mean it. Does the town where you are, does that ever affect your creativity?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and I mean,
you write better in Brooklyn?
No, I just it recharges your it just fills your brain with new juice, I think. And I had 17 years living in Brooklyn. I loved it, and we had no plan to move out here. But we just when we came out here for a long vacation, we just saw how much she liked it, and the sun was great, and instantly, it felt like our brains sort of woke up again.
And do you want to write suddenly about like
same thing with my wife?
I mean,
she's a writer.
You, and our kids are sitting with our toe. I mean, and it was February then, right? Early March. Yeah. And I mean, every Sunday we go to that spot.
No,
I'm not saying it on the mic. I don't want any other asshole going to where we go.
Yeah, no,
that's a special joint.
It is not a secret spot. It's just like
don't say it.
Yeah,
but I'm like, this is crazy.
I love it. I know.
It's fucking February.
Yeah,
and I got a 3-year-old
splashing in the waves. Yeah.
He's 4 foot tall and 60 pounds, but Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no.
So you do write differently in different places.
I was just I was just had all new chemistry in my brain and all kinds of new. It's not like I'm writing about. I'm not. I mean, I am working on a record that's a lot about California and stuff and my feelings about it. And it's actually not a national record, but it's a different collaboration thing. But But and I'm actually kind of
Matt Berninger and Friends.
No, well, it is. It's just a guy.
Joe Perry project.
This guy named Brent Knopf and I have known each other for a long time. Are making a little record, but
I feel like you're sweeping this project under the rug for some reason.
I'm not saying much about it right now because we're still. It's just it's still finishing. We're actually not far from being done with that.
And why wasn't that a national record?
I started writing on the last tour. This guy Brent and we've known each other since we first. He was in a band called Phenomena, and we toured with them a lot. It was even before Clap Your Hands days, and we were sharing vans and playing to nobody, empty crowds. All like they're from Oregon, so I've known them for way back, and I've known Brent for a long time. And our last national tour, I decided to do less partying. I mean, I actually never did a ton of partying, but like. I realized because I had a daughter and I was like, I just got to go to bed or go back to the bus and just get away from all this stuff. So I would go back to the hotel room or to the bus, and work on these little songs that he and I had kind of been sending back and forth for a little while. And just on this last tour with the Nationals, when we really sort of like, oh, we have a record. This is kind of fun. And that coincided with moving out here. And so this thing had a whole different vibe to it.
It wouldn't fit if it was the national.
I mean, it could. I mean, it was just. I mean, I'm also deep in the middle of writing the new national record too. But it was like almost like a weird guilty pleasure, and it was a nice.
Do you tell the guys in the band?
Yeah, they know Brent, and those guys actually. Brian has just put out a record with another guy from Phenomena named Danny.
It's a great name, Phenomena. That is such a great name for a band.
So we all and those. I mean, the other guys in the band. Are doing so many projects with like stuff with Sufjan Stevens, Arcade Fire,
a really
Mumford & Sons. So
healthy group of dudes.
We got a pretty healthy,
and that's not normal.
Yeah, we know
it
that. It
seems like the Nationals are very healthy, well-adjusted group of dudes.
It would never work in a marriage, but in a band, it's like it's kind of an open marriage. The situation our records also we have all these, these brilliant people who've come and played on our records, and Annie Clark from St. Vincent, and like Sufjan and Richard Reed Perry from Arcade Fire, and all these people. We've been so lucky that amazing musicians have helped us with our. So we've had a kind of an open door policy. I've never collaborated with anybody on anything else until this project, other than my wife, and my brother on the documentary. But it's the first time I've made music. Well, no, I had a band before the National that Scott was in, but I hadn't done it for a long time.
I know what you mean, though. Yeah.
I hadn't done it for a long time, and this was fun because it was just a way to just breathe different air for a little while, and it made, I think, all of the side projects make the guys, the members of the National sort of get along even better. It's like
well, you need a break sometimes.
Yeah,
especially tour. But
there was a phase there where we were all like everything was resting on the success of this band for a little while, and we could have always gone back to our day jobs, but there was so much tension and pressure that there was a time where our band did the tensions and the interpersonal stuff did bubble up and almost we've almost broken up several times in our past. Since people started doing other things, suddenly some of the anxiety and pressure is away, and we get along better now than I think we ever did, for sure.
When you don't collaborate, is that in the past? I mean, is that I don't think it's selfish at all, especially as a musician. I would think, is it just because it's private? And
really.
It's weird to go like, hey, here's like me ripping my guts out, putting pen to paper. Like, what do you think?
I would say nobody did anything with it. Nobody worked on other things with other musicians, or
no, you specifically.
For a long time. All me?
Because your lyric, you mentioned Arcade Fire, who I'm a lyric whore. Like when I listen to Arcade Fire, I'm like, God damn.
Right.
And Rufus Wainwright, everything's a quadruple entendre, triple, But your lyrics, I put right up there, not because you're in my garage. The reason you're in my garage is because I'm like, I need to talk to this guy. Like, there's, I love your, your Matt. I love your lyrics. So, if I wrote things as, and I'm not saying precious in a bad way. I mean precious like a precious metal.
But personal.
Is it because it's private? Like it's because what you write is, I would think it's a bit autobiographical. Autobiographical. Is that how you say it? Sounds weird coming out. Autobiographical. But I think the way I said it the first way saves time and sounds cool.
You nailed it.
But it's private.
I would say I probably didn't. I mean, I didn't write songs for anything other than the National for 15 years, probably because it took a lot out of me, and I didn't have anything left for anything else.
What if you ask somebody and they don't think it's as fantastic as you do? Then it's like,
it's really hard.
That could really ruin a band, right?
It's hard. It's very hard to.
You
got to
be all in on Matt Berninger.
I will never. I don't think I ever, and I'm not even trying to ever replace the chemistry that the five guys in the National have. And it's like, I know that it's like it's black magic how we are able to get along, all stay excited. We've gone through, like I said, tough spots, but I sometimes scratch my head and can't figure out how we made it, basically how we survived and how we still, how people kind of like whatever our records manage to connect with people so much.
But you do
I
know the answer
why.
now.
I work hard on it.
It's just hard work.
But it is.
You did the work that the
I
hipsters
can't
don't
do it alone. It's like
you toured your balls off.
The final product, though, has for us. I recognize it has a chemical reaction, a black magic that is hard, very hard to get, and so I'll never. I'm not even looking for it. This thing I'm doing with Brent. It's like a different kind of. It's not a band. It's the two of us are kind of having this fun ping pong back and forth ideas and making this really fun record and that has a very different kind of chemistry.
Who releases that? Like, what do you just
I don't know
go?
Yet. I don't know.
See, that's kind of cool.
We haven't thought about that yet. I mean,
you should sell it on the National website and charge people $11.
I don't know.
And by the way, it is actual AmericanMary.com. I'm guessing
that is our website.
The National. The domain name was probably taken by 40 different things like magazines.
The National was not available even back in '99.
And American Mary, for
American
those of you
Mary
that
was,
are new, is a single, and you guys.
It's the name of one of our first songs
it's a great website.
We weren't embarrassed about.
It's a really good website.
Yeah, it's a cool website. It's for
most bands just like here's the dates later.
Scott designed.
But when you only have 3
website.
dates, you have to do other things to make it a great website.
Yeah, that's the funny thing about our website is that's pretty much all Scott Devendorf, who is like he does the album covers, he does all the websites. So he plays bass, and he's also like our designer. I'm also a little bit of a designer, but he's better at it. So
that's got to be weird that the brothers are the rhythm section.
Yeah,
I mean it's cool. I don't mean weird in a bad way, but like the fact that drums and bass are brothers. Like drum and bass have to be connected at the hip anyway.
Well, they're funny. Scott and Brian are funny because they were both into they were total skaters, into like 7 Seconds and Black Flag and and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's my wheelhouse. That's why the National is a thing. Like that's why it's a It's a thing for me because I'm a Black Flag, Bad Brains guy.
Yeah. Are you a Deadhead?
And no,
they are also Deadheads and total
then they're not as
Dan
smart
heads.
as you and I.
But
Steely Dan, kiss my ass, you two.
But anyway, so that's Scott and Brian. That they are like sponges for stuff they love. They love stuff that they don't care whether it fits a genre or not. But anyway, I want to use this. Those guys have all been curating this Grateful Dead covers album that has like over 55 songs and has all these amazing artists. Arcade Fire doing a song, Mumford & Sons are doing a song, like Cat Power I think is doing something. All these amazing.
Are you going to do one with them?
I did 2 songs.
Which ones?
2 Grateful Dead songs.
Which tunes?
And
because you just said earlier that's not your bag.
Fan.
That's not your bag. You said
until recently we did. Brian and Scott play the Dead on the tour bus all the time. In the backstage, it's the Dead or Steely Dan. That's all we hear.
Let me put an addendum to my Grateful Dead thing.
Yeah.
I'm not a Dead guy.
Yeah.
However, if the Dead is on, not only do I not mind it, I always wind up going, "Is this the Dead?"
Right.
Like it kind of has this weird.
Right.
I'm not dancing around like an idiot, like people at dead shows, but I can I dig it if it's on someplace.
Right.
But I wouldn't go out and buy like an album.
Yeah,
and
I was
listen to
like
it.
I said earlier.
I can't run to it.
I was one of those snobs who would turn my nose up at things that weren't REM and you know what the Smiths and all that kind of psychedelic furs, and I was like so the Dead and
but the bands you just named though are pretty mainstream.
The Fish and the Dead were this thing
it's
that like no that's
breakbeat and a
no
like love.
no they're brilliant, but I'm saying that's why the Dead and Fish and Rush and different stuff like that I wouldn't go to their shows, and that wasn't me because it was like the opposite of what I thought of myself. But I have totally grown. Steely Dan and the Dead, those guys play, and like I've grown to love it. And
you're like, I have Patton Oswalt tickets. Thank you very much. I don't need the Dead. But, Bob Ware. I'm going to see Aziz Ansari. He's hip. So what were the 2 Dead songs you did?
Peggy O and Morning Dew. We just did, and they're awesome.
How long did it take?
I had so much fun. I sang them. Those guys. I don't know how long. They just sent me stuff, and I sang along to it. I don't know how long it. I think they probably knocked it out in a day, and I sang those 2 songs in a few hours, and it was really fun, and the songs are great, and I can't wait for this record to come out. It's I'll send them to you,
please.
But it's
probably
like,
a little scary too, because all of a sudden it's not the National, and Matt's all of a sudden singing what he wrote. All of a sudden, everybody's going to hold it up to the light of
those songs.
Fucking Jerry and Bob Ware
hold up in different weird ways, and like I think what's going to be really cool about this record is I think people will hear the Grateful Dead in ways that they just didn't know.
That's like Jane's Addiction doing Ripple.
Yeah,
made me go back into the Dead catalog and dig up Ripple.
Yeah,
like the Grateful Dead you can cover in 40 different ways.
Yeah, and or it's like it goes the other way when Johnny Cash covers 9 Inch Nails. It's like,
what's your favorite Johnny Cash cover? Mine's Rusty Cage.
The ones that he is covering.
Well, he's dead now. If he's covering him now,
the ones
God, we're gonna make a lot of money, Colonel Parker.
His most recent posthumous work. I probably
I go to his grave and
it's hurt, right?
That's the best, right?
That's just amazing. But that's like
Rusty Cage. I dig.
You put
the Soundgarden cover of Rusty Cage because you know what? Honestly, though, I never knew the words when Cornell was screaming it.
Song, right.
You wired me awake and with a hand of broken nails, but I'm gonna break my. But when Johnny Cash did it, I was like, wow, this is really cool. And I was like, I didn't know those were the words. Jesus Christ, this is the apocalypse. This is great.
Yeah. Well, the Peggy O is the Dead song. I listen to it. It's like, I think the Dead deliver it in some, in kind of this jangly way. That's like, and then I was listening to this song and singing those lyrics. It is a dark song. It's a soldier talking about the, how his captain fell in love with a woman and then she wouldn't marry him, so he destroys her town, and then he goes off and dies in Louisiana, and like it is dark. That song, so it's really fun to hear all these Dead songs, and I can't wait to hear what other people are doing with them.
Do you make a concerted effort? I mean, that's
to do something different than what the Dead would do.
That's kind of a dick way for me to put it. Like, do you listen to it and go, "Oh, that's not like this needs like." Did it bring out a dark visual for you that could only be sung a certain way?
It was like I just started singing it, and I was like, "Oh, if I try to sing, like Bobby Weir or and I think he sings that one, but if I tried to sing like those guys, like Jerry, I would." For one, I can't. I don't have that kind of voice, and it'd be mimicking instead of covering. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference, and like I don't like to hear covers that are mimics.
If you're gonna cover it, make it yours.
Just take the basic chord structures, take the lyrics, and then you do that song your way. It's kind of like tailor it to you. A little bit. So. I was conscious, although it wasn't hard not to sing like those guys because I can't. I don't have that good of a voice, but I did it in my way, and it was so fun. Anyway, I don't know when that thing's coming out, but
what is that?
That's a commercial. It's a big charity record. It's I think it's part of the Red Hot and Blue. I think it's gonna be called Dead Hot and Blue. Actually, I don't know.
How about this? It'll be on AmericanMary.com.
It'll be all over the place.
There'll be links.
It's a big, great charity.
And if you're in Spain, you can go see the National in Spain.
Yeah.
You have 3 dates in the next year. It was amazing. But you put your work in.
When is that? Next month or something.
Saturday Night Live. This is important.
Okay, let's go.
Who was the host? When you were
Lena Dunham was the host.
I remember this because I looked at my wife and I said, wow, this is the actual hippest episode there ever was. Lena Dunham and the National.
She was.
Everybody should just worn ironic clothing that entire hour and a half.
I gotta tell you, this is. I'm not blowing any kind of smoke anywhere with this. She was such a cool person. She was not only was she so cool to us. I mean, she was. Of course,
her show was perfect, but show girls. So I mean, you're coming to the.
I would have imagined she would have just been full of anxiety, but that she has got a kind of unselfconscious.
She likes to play
enthusiasm, and she was, in between her. I mean, she's, changing outfits and jumping, and then, but she would make a moment to stop by our room and say, "Hey guys, are you guys excited?" We're like, aren't you freaking out? She would pop in the middle of this thing that she's hosting.
Having
she's never
been
done
there
before. Coolest person, one of the coolest people I've ever met. Having only spent just an afternoon.
But sometimes that's all it takes. Like I'm easy. If I say hi to a celebrity and they say hi back for the rest of my life, I'm like, no, he's a good guy, man. Like he's a really good guy. It's true.
I could find out, Lena, that you're a terrible person. I don't think so. I really like you. I barely know you, but I
was
really
at a Yankee game once, and an usher goes, Michelle Rodriguez is sitting behind you, and I go, who? And they go, Michelle Rodriguez.
Wait, you were
from
talking
Girl
to
Fight.
Usher?
An usher.
Oh.
That'd be before
Usher
was
tells me that Michelle Rodriguez is behind.
Before people don't know that, and I'm glad you brought that up, Matt. Before Usher was famous, he was an usher in the Bronx at Yankee Stadium, and he came up to me and he said, "Hey, actually,
I was an usher in church when I was
as every young man should."
Yeah, I collected. I also, was a server.
You know why? Because you have to be quiet. It's the only time as a child there's no like. All right, no, seriously, guys.
I tried.
Quiet.
No, I did all that stuff. I did a lot of church. I'm not religious anymore, but I was a altar boy and wore the robes and all that stuff, Catholic church and all that kind of stuff.
That's just growing up.
Yeah,
they
man.
tell you to do it, you do it, and you stay in line. You don't want to be separated from the pack.
I did it for the outfits.
You wait till you're older, and then you want to be away from the pack. But as a kid, you want to be in the pack. But the usher comes up to me at Yankee Stadium. This Puerto Rican guy goes, "Hey, Mr. Mohr, Mr. Jerry Maguire, Michelle Rodriguez is like 5 rows behind you, man." And I stand up and I turn around and he points and she looks at me and I go, "Michelle." Never met her before in my life. And never saw the movie. Just know of her in this movie.
Which movie?
It was Girl Fight, I think, right?
Girl Fight? Okay.
I go, Michelle, Jay Mohr. Hi, just want to say. And she goes, "Oh my God, hi." And then from the next 10 years, I'm like, she would come up. I'd like, she's a good kid, man. Like, I don't fucking know her.
Yeah, right, I know.
So Lena Dunham is the host. You're the musical act. You're talking about her. Why aren't you freaking out, Lena Dunham? But you being on Saturday Night Live, are you freaking out?
I was nervous.
Lots of Budweiser in that dressing room.
Yeah, I was.
That you got that 8th floor dressing room across.
Honest, I ate like a gummy worm weed. A little bit.
You did?
Yeah, just a.
What time around are we talking about?
I can't remember. A little before enough before the
8 p.m. Before the dress rehearsal, or before the live show.
I never smoked much weed before, but I have found that just a tiny bit of it helps you just shake off some of those self-conscious.
And you're in that dressing room.
It can amplify them too, but for me, like a little glass of wine and a gummy weed worm.
You're in that dressing room across from the host on the 8th floor.
Yeah.
In that wacky hallway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And it was amazing to see like in that the band, the room they always put the band in. All 4 walls. And part of the ceiling, I think, are covered in little photographs of every band that's ever been on.
It's
and
nuts.
It's the most intimidating thing in the world.
You're like, oh my God, David Bowie. And there's this guy, and then you go, and there's Vanilla Ice. Okay, we're all right.
Yeah. Well,
there's always an equalizer that you go.
I kept looking for the Replacements. I'm a huge Replacements fan, and
Westerberg there solo.
Well, no, but the Replacements like did a thing, and they were banned from the show because they were wasted. Check it out online. It's awesome.
But I was there when Paul Westerberg was there after they were banned.
Oh, really?
So he came back, and Charlton Heston was the host.
No, I think you're right. Yeah.
And during the good nights,
he goes, thing there? Yeah.
He goes, Charlton Heston was like so old, and he goes, I want to thank, the host always thank, I'm sure Lena Dunham goes, I want to thank the National and the cast and the crew. What a weekend, what a week, what a night. And Charlton Heston goes, and Paul Westerberg standing right next to him, like they're shoulder to shoulder, to get that two-shot in the camera. He goes, I want to thank Paul Westerfield. And Paul Westerberg goes, Westerberg. And this is all on camera on live TV. He goes, what? He goes, Westerberg. He goes, Paul Westerfield. like you're wrong. Like, go away, son. Like triumphantly, like Westerfield.
I've never seen that.
What 2 songs did you play?
Is that on YouTube? What songs did we play?
You got a bug, bro. Yeah, lots of mosquitoes in the garage.
You got bugs in your garage, man.
Lots of them. And the kids in the neighborhood all walk around with welts on their faces. Everybody thinks we beat our kids. For some reason, there's Malibu's craziest bugs in the world. What were the 2 songs you played on SNL?
What did we do? We did. I think we did "Graceless" and "I Need My Girl." I believe that's what we did.
I'm gonna get this on YouTube the moment I'm out of here.
But
"Graceless" and what?
"I Need My Girl."
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that I could be wrong about that. I can't remember.
You're all whacked out on gummy pot.
No, but it was a. I think I can't open my eyes like in that kind of thing. I can't open my eyes on stage very much. I have to go into, and so that was one note.
Can't open your eyes like because you're in your own world.
Well, it's a little bit. I got to close my eyes to be able to do the songs. Like I can open my eyes a little bit, but like it's much. I need to go inside my head to do the songs, right? Because otherwise I'm so hyper aware of like the camera sliding over there, and there's a guy with a
that's
pink
a tiny
hat
room
right over there, it's like, and like
Did you say a pink hat?
Yeah, whatever. Just
that just made me happy. I'm sorry.
I'm a little like, I mean,
I'm with you.
I have to shut it off. I have to kind of shut it out.
That doesn't work in stand-up comedy.
No, I know.
Just go on stage with your eyes closed. Go.
Oh,
I was watching Dateline ID.
No, I know. I don't know how you do it. I mean, like I close my eyes. There's mute. I can totally sink into and I can forget that I'm in front of a room. I can zone it out and get right into the songs and just
see other performers.
I love it.
Are like, I need the energy from the crowd, and that's the whole thing. And you're not like Tinkerbell. You don't need that applause to sustain your life.
I mean, a show that people are going crazy. That you do feel that, but it doesn't help me do a good show. Honestly, I mean, actually, it feels good.
Do you break between songs and realize like this is going great?
And I'll snap it. But I do have to for a show. I kind of I go into a zone, and it's kind of I have to lose a little bit of my awareness of the environment, because if I think about it, if I think about thousands of people like watching you and just and your face is next to you on a jumbotron at a festival and like these.
I didn't know I was going bald until that stupid monitor.
No, yeah, it's just
I'm doing a corporate gig. I'm like, Jesus Christ, when did I put on a yarmulke? Oh no, that's my head. I'm going bald. Thanks, corporate cameraman.
I go into a little bit of a weird zone.
And does that last the whole show?
Yeah, I mean it's.
But you say thank you and hey, you guys are great.
I drink a lot of wine on stage, and like I mean, I get a little.
You just got to get in it.
Yeah,
the way we all wish we can get into it.
Yeah.
And now, when does
I have so much fun on stage because.
But when you're on stage, you say things like, hey Philadelphia, you guys are cool. No patter.
No, I don't do much.
Thank God.
No,
it's the worst.
Right.
Guess what happened to us last night? I don't care.
Right.
At all. What's going to happen after you go 1, 2, 3, 4?
We are not a good banter band.
Thank God.
And occasionally something will happen where we'll joke about something, and occasionally it's funny. Most of the time it's just like that's not why people are here, and we're not that good. We're not comics, How
do you work out the lights? Every time I go see a band,
the lights.
There's an amazing light show that coincides with a bridge. There's a guitar break, and then that's where the strobe hits, and it's green for the
I'm
song.
controlling all of that.
With your mind and your gummy pot and your red wine. You take LSD, and you just think, But like seriously, that's somebody's job.
Yeah, this guy.
Do you hire a guy?
Michael Brown is our guy who the past several tours and everything.
It's highly effective. Like it always is incredibly. When I'm at a show, I'm like, it is really. It's one of those things. Like if you're in a band, you're like, fuck it, man, just give me a spotlight. We'll play the music.
This guy Michael Brown is Michael Brown. Another guy, Ben Crawl.
Downtown Michael Brown.
Downtown Michael Brown and Ben Crawl Space Crawl are two guys who put together our whole show for a long time. And Michael Brown was just poached briefly by Tom Petty, but then he just came back. But he's a brilliant.
Lakeland, Florida's Tom Petty.
Yes, Tom Petty of Lakeland, Florida.
Your band, this is confusing, has been described as roots-oriented pop under genres.
What roots?
Roots-oriented pop.
I don't know what that means.
Alternative country.
That right. The first record could have slid into the alt country bin.
We live in a world.
That's where it died.
We live in a world where we like to categorize and label everything because it makes us feel safe.
No, that's the roots.
What would you
say?
The
roots-oriented pop. I'm not sure exactly what that means.
I don't know. I've never heard it before until you guys.
Until I wrote that about myself.
Good music, like whatever happened to that category.
Well. That's the whole thing is like indie. We're an indie rock band, and
you say that like because somebody go like, are you an indie band? You're like, fuck you, I made it. I'm not an indie band.
Well, it doesn't make. I mean, it doesn't make much sense anymore. But it became a word that sticks to all the bands that are kind of like not commercial pop songs. I don't even know, but some of them do. Like like Arcade Fire is an indie band, and now they've broken through. You know,
any of your songs get radio play?
Some a little bit. I think "I Need My Girl" has gotten a lot. "Blood Buzz Ohio"
off your favorite album, off your favorite the national album.
Yeah, I know. But before that, no, it's there's.
Do you think there's songs in your past catalog that were way more worthy of radio airplay than the ones that got played, but you weren't famous enough at the time?
I don't know.
You don't think about it.
I mean, yeah, I don't know.
You're not obsessive.
Probably not. But I haven't thought of it that way. We don't know. I mean, like I've trying to write a song for radio.
Oh no, that's not. Yeah. I mean,
but
you go like, well,
this
is on the radio. You know, Apartment Story. I mean, why not play that on K-Rock?
I think plenty of it. I think any of our songs should be on the radio or good enough to be on the radio.
They're under 4 minutes.
It's just
you don't waste our time.
It's just the radio that I like, but no one else would tune in. But
who calls you to go on Saturday Night Live? And I gotta think, no matter how much money you have or no matter how successful you are, that's one of those calls where you do kind of a happy dance in your living room.
I think with us, I think it happens a lot of ways. I mean, Lorne Michaels makes all those choices, and
Matt decided to have you on the show.
But with us, I think it wasn't that like Lorne. I think there were other cast members that had were fans and were kind of like endorsing us. I think Bill Hader was a big reason why we got on. And there's a few people. And
I bet you love him too.
Over there.
If he lobbied.
What's that?
I said I love Bill Hader, and then I said, well, you probably love him too if he lobbied to get you.
Yeah, he's. I think he's one of the funniest and kindest and sort of smartest guys I've ever met. Yeah, I think he's great.
My 2 years
on SNL. Does he live in this neighborhood?
Everybody is. It's weird.
Yeah,
like Sugar Ray Leonard.
What is this neighborhood called?
Pacific Palisades.
Okay,
between Santa Monica and Malibu, but up on a hill.
Yeah.
Nice. My 2 years on Saturday Night Live. Nirvana, my first show.
Really? Yeah.
Second show, Cypress Hill, like whatever.
Well,
third show, Aerosmith.
Yeah.
And it just got weirder.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you do that dress rehearsal on Thursday. Yeah. No one's in the studio, but I was never in a sketch.
Uh-huh.
I always was like the guy that waved goodnight at the end of the show.
Right.
So I had a lot of free time. I had nothing to rehearse. And I wasn't any...
I haven't read your book.
I was of no use in the writer's room because I just wanted to put myself in the sketch. So I would literally go watch Eric Clapton do 5 long years.
Right.
And then fucking Buddy Guy standing over there. And you're like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So who, like, does your manager call you and say, do you guys want to do Saturday Night Live? Or does he say,
well,
guess who's doing Saturday Night Live?
Every manager is...
Is it as big a deal as I think it is to a musical act?
Yeah, it's a symbolic big deal to musicians. Does it Does it move the dial? Yeah, I'm sure it does.
I was told there's a 20% raise in. When I was on the show, they said bands that are on Saturday Night Live, it's 20 to 30% raise in the album sales for the following week.
That might be the case. Back then, that was probably significant. Now,
now it's all downloads
for us,
and free.
I mean, we sell a healthy amount of records, but it's a small fraction of like big pop stars or whatever. But I'm sure we had a big bump. I don't know. I didn't actually check, but I'm sure we did.
But who called you, Matt?
Who called us?
Who told you?
I don't. Their booking agent, and I can't remember
theirs. They don't call you.
I think it's actually a woman named Jamie who called.
But they don't call Matt.
No. They don't. They called our manager, and our manager.
They called Beggars Banquet Records or
480.
What is it? 480.
480.
Yeah, they call 480.
Yeah,
right?
and they say, "Hey, we got SNL." Nobody call. I don't think anybody, unless you're Kanye, nobody calls an artist and say, "Do you want to do SNL?" It's like, "Hey, we got it. We got SNL." Yeah, it's cool. It's a
weird little room for the listener and people that watch Saturday Night Live. We talk so much on this podcast about being on, like, comics that have been on it and actors. And, but as a band, to do it, that's got to be weird being put through your paces, because dress rehearsals like at 6 in the afternoon or night, or whatever. And but unlike
it's an insane day, and
unlike the comics, you're never cut.
Yeah,
they never tell you your second show. We're running a little long, Matt. We're going to cut.
But is it a constant fear of being chopped? Like, if you're on?
Well, if you're new, it's an assumption.
Right.
When I was there, the rule was make the host funny and make sure the women are in your sketch. And I was like, all I have is a Christopher Walken impression. I can do Harvey Keitel, and nobody knows who he is. Like, all my impressions were like Andrew McCarthy, Colin Quinn, like Norm Macdonald, other comics. So, like, I wasn't exactly I was my own worst enemy. But not like, I didn't self-sabotage. I was told by Mike Shoemaker, great producer, and now this Fallon, go to the writers and do your impressions. Like, just go from room to room and, do your impressions. And I felt that was humiliating.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to walk in and start doing Pacino to a bunch of guys that are in the middle of something.
Yeah.
And it turns out that's exactly probably what I should have done. But I had pride, which is the downfall of all of us at the time. But I got a book out of it, and I got to work with Chris Farley for 2 years.
Yeah.
So I won. The most beautiful man I ever met in my life.
Yeah.
And he was completely sober both years I worked with him.
Wow.
You, my man, The National. I love the band, and it didn't even dawn on me when we were on the beach. And this was a fear I had when we were texting back and forth, because I had a question about apartment story.
Yeah.
No, which
what
song
was your
is,
question?
Which song was I Waited 29 Years to Meet You?
That's Slow Show.
Slow Show, which is such a great fucking song.
There's also a song.
But when I looked up the lyrics for Slow Show, I Waited 29 Years to Meet You wasn't in whatever website. There's like 18 different websites where you get lyrics.
Yeah, that's in
and
there.
It's kind of like
I couldn't understand why you couldn't find it, because I found it right away.
Well, whatever one I was on didn't have it.
Were you typing?
I would just type it in. It was like the song was there, but that was out. And then you hit me to some like inside knowledge of cut and paste stuff that you were after. Yeah. And then I asked you like I'm telling you this more than the listener, just so you know.
You called me. You didn't text me this. Yeah, you called
we
me.
did both.
Right.
And I was like, if you ever want to be on the podcast, whatever. And you said, sure, whatever. Yeah. And then I had this fear of, I hope this guy didn't think that this was a long fucking run.
The
like
long
this
con?
The long con, like to get him on the pod. I'd way rather be friends than record our voices. And then your response was, name the night. I don't care. It'd be great.
Yeah.
So then you let me off the hook easy.
Here I am.
Anybody out there that wonders?
I have been dreading this ever since you. I thought you weren't going to ask me back. I didn't know you were going to call.
I didn't know you were going to go through with it.
So this is fun.
It's easy, right?
Yeah, I love it. I've done a bunch. I enjoy doing the podcast much more than doing an interview. Because in an interviews
are time crunch and dumb, and
hit the
does the music come first or the words?
Yeah, it's a weird. I mean, because you're doing so many interviews in a row, everybody's got 20 minutes to do it. It's like. So, but you end up doing interview, all day long. You do these press things, and you just answer the same questions over and over. So podcasts are actually relaxing and fun. So
any wacky antics happen on the set, JJ?
Yeah.
And what I tell you, I think it was this morning we spoke. I was in my car, and I said, if you and I, that's what I tell everybody. Well, not everybody. That's what I tell a lot of people. If you and I drove to Vegas, like by the time we got, not Barstow, but like Baker, when we were really like chopping shit up, that's the podcast.
That's
just you and me talking in a car.
What did we feel like that's worked here?
Oh, absolutely. Because
I've been,
and it's rare for me, Matt, that I'm new to a band.
Yeah.
So
no, I love it.
Like to have your entire oeuvre at my fingertips. Like I'm always the guy going, you never heard of Rival Sons, you never heard of Rufus Wainwright, and like realizing like, wow, that guy's got 6 albums to fuck around. Like this is great. Mm-hmm. And now I'm that guy.
Yeah.
So to have you on my podcast, I'm thrilled. And if there's anybody out there that doesn't have the national albums, all of them, get them on your phone, keep them in your pocket. Definitely watch.
And if you like the Dead, we're on there too. We're gonna get
yeah. And if you like, clap your hands, say yeah.
Check them out.
If you like the website Pitchfork, if you like Brassland Records, we've covered a lot of ground that you wouldn't do in a radio interview.
Thank You for Changes. There's a documentary. Go check it out.
It is a fantastic.
I'm trying to think of other things that I can sell.
Might as well, 4 brothers in the band. That's got to be crazy.
Wait, who is that? Your Christopher Walken?
Yeah, no, that was my Pacino. I love the National. They're a great band, but Apartment Story, it struck me too close to home. I remember telling, if you leave here, you're going to start a war. It's crazy. Your band's fantastic, and just don't break up. Just keep moving. Just don't break up.
Yeah, we're not breaking up.
Don't Big Star me.
We're really lucky.
Remember
that
Big Star?
We almost broke up.
We all got into Big Star.
We recovered from almost breaking up.
Between what albums? This is great.
Actually, it happened a couple of times. I mean, kind of. I mean, definitely.
Who's the guy? Who's the
Making
dick?
Alligator?
Who's the guy in the band that's always like, "Fuck you guys"? It's you, isn't it?
I mean, everybody's got different. Everybody's got really bad sides of their personalities.
Did they all have kids?
Everybody except for one has kids now. That definitely changed things. We almost broke up a bunch, and it was like creative differences.
What was the one time where it was really, really?
I think it was Making Alligator.
Really?
Making Alligator was because everything was riding on it. It was the first time we had a shot at being on a real label. It was the first time we had a shot, and we were all incredibly passionate, incredibly high strung, a lot of ego, all of us, So this was our shot. So we were like trying to figure out how to do it together, and we just fought like crazy, and but we got through it and made a great record. And you know what? Actually, I think this was more making Boxer was when it got the worst.
Really?
Yeah, Boxer was when it was
perfect album.
Making that, yeah,
perfect.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people think that's our best record. They might be right. I don't know.
I think it is.
Great. Good for you.
No, that was the one I was listening to on the way to Calgary, where I was like, "Am I getting my period?"
That
like,
one has.
It's effective.
That one.
It gets in you, man.
That one has a lot of goes into sort of. It has a very specific world that it.
No matter what you're going through, it's got those songs where you can selfishly apply it to yourself. Like, yeah, man, fuck everybody on this airplane. They don't know what I'm going going through.
Yeah,
even if there's nothing wrong with your life.
That's
the romanticism that we apply.
I would probably say that when all is said and done, people will talk about that one the most.
But that's not your favorite album.
Well, it's
always the last one, isn't it?
It's not my. It's not that it's not my favorite. It's just I don't ever think of it that way. I don't
know what that means.
Sounds silly.
That sounds silly.
It's like kids. It's like, I mean, I'm sure people have their favorite kids, and like, I only have one kid, so it's easy to pick. But with the albums, it's kind of like that. You just like they all have these their personalities. They all have their thing, and they were, or sometimes it's like a snapshot of you in high school, and you look at it and you like. oh, I look so silly. That haircut looks so silly. I don't.
But could it be Boxer's not your favorite album because you didn't like the way you were during that time as a person?
Actually, I'm not even saying it's not my favorite album.
No, you said Trouble Will Find Me is your favorite album.
It's the one. It's the one I feel was.
I'll fucking erase this whole podcast. I don't give a shit.
It was. The truth is, honestly, I will. This. I know you told me not to say this, but. The songs we're writing right now, I've never.
No.
No.
Out of the ones that are finished.
No, I don't want to talk about that.
What's your favorite The National record?
I really, I'd just be picking one to give you an answer. I don't have one.
You don't have one, really?
No, I don't have one.
Not Boxer.
I know the first one isn't. But the other, the first two are not. But Alligator, Boxer, High Violet, and Trouble Will Find Me. I cannot.
You're funny, and you never
The first two I can say are not my fave.
You know you're funny, right?
I'd drown if they were cats, I'd drown them. No, that's not true.
You're so dry. You don't like. Does your wife ever not know if you're like fucking around or not?
Why? I don't. You think I'm sarcastic and
No, what you're saying is like really like. I know it's not the first one. It's like hysterical.
Yeah.
Like I don't think you're aware that you're saying hilarious. Right. Are you really not aware that you're saying hilarious things?
Oh, maybe.
That's fucking. What you just said is hysterical.
I don't know.
I know it's not the first one.
That's the thing about my brother. It's like that's a good example. Anytime I've tried to be funny, like on stage, it's when it just doesn't work.
Because my brother, because you have to take the veil off to be funny. You got to take off that veil.
It's not funny unless it's coming from a kind of a true place or something like that. And that's why, going back to the documentary, my brother's so funny because he can't fake it. Like
Where is Tom right now?
He lives in our garage still. He's at our house. Actually, you know where he is right now? He is at rehearsals he's doing a production of Lear, and he plays Lord Burgundy. In which Lord Burgundy, I think, has 2 lines in all of Lear.
Yeah, but he's doing it.
And he's been studying this play for months, and he's got, I think, like 2 lines.
And
look it up. Lord Burgundy, not a big part of Lear.
That's okay though, but he's doing it.
No, totally, and it's a community thing.
It's a world of doers and not doers.
I swear to God,
he's a doer.
I've never been more excited about and proud of what he's been doing because it's got to be terrifying. I mean, like doing Shakespeare, and he's done a little bit of acting courses.
Is it community theater in what town?
It's down in where is it? I think it's in.
This will air after.
I think it's some little theater in Santa Monica.
In Santa Monica?
I think it's in Santa Monica.
Also in...
it's actually this weekend. Shit, Tom, here's my chance. Oh, this won't be up till... No. It's actually for 2 weeks. Look up Tom Berninger in Lear, somewhere in L.A.
I'll tweet it. I'll tweet it out.
Lord Burgundy. Yeah. You tweet it.
Lord Burgundy. Stay classy, San Diego.
Oh, my God. Oh, my gosh. I don't even know if he's telling anybody. Because he's got a lot of fans from the movie.
No shit.
I don't think he's
Mistaken for Strangers. You must watch this, people. On Netflix or wherever the hell you get it. Yeah. It's just such an incredible documentary. At some point, you really think, like, is this guy just going to tell us, like... How do you not kick it? Yeah. Family it's never a good idea.
Yeah.
It's never a good idea.
Yeah.
But your brother lives with you and your wife.
I would say this. If anybody who's not heard our band, and if you want to go check, like, watch the documentary first, because I think it's a good way to that was my path. Yeah. I think it is a good way. And that's why my brother made this documentary, and I just, like, he pulled it off. Such a gift for our band. Yeah.
And by the way, your parents, remarkable people. Because I don't know how or why, but the way they both raised you to be so artistic, they would show paintings or like charcoal drawings that you and your brother Tom had done. And you guys we didn't even touch on this, but you're a fantastic artist. Like, not good. No. My opinion. So
I could draw a little.
Yeah, you can't disagree with me because it's how I feel. I learned that in therapy. I feel you're a fantastic artist. Your brother Tom, fantastic artist. Uh-huh. But and I'm not talking like these guys can draw. I'm talking like if you had an exhibit at the MoMA, you wouldn't go like, "Why is this here? This is dumb." Like, you guys were like weird talented, and in 2 completely different realms.
No, I was doing like
hey, you guys draw palm trees, and yours looks like
Tom does I do like abstract expressionism. Tom does like penis rock is like flying through zombies' brains.
But there's like a Crumb-ish.
Yeah.
Like he's kind of like Crumb.
Yeah.
Crumb's brother, the one that went crazy.
Yeah. Oh, the Crumb. Yeah,
Why don't you put
one.
any of your
The
art
other one.
on the website American Mary?
Tom's got so many drawings of just like creatures
How do I
sitting
get
on
one?
toilets. I don't even know. It's like
Would
a
he
whole,
draw me one?
He's got a whole book of creatures, bizarre creatures shitting.
Would he draw me something?
No, yeah.
2J
totally.
Love Tom. I'm not joking at all.
No, I haven't.
Like we were stunned. Like my grandfather used to say, you can tell a lot about a man by his children, and you and your brother obviously are grade A guys.
Yeah.
But
listen,
you
I will
can flip
ask
that
him.
and say you can tell a lot about a parent by the kid. Like your parents are fucking rad.
Tell you what I'll do. I'm gonna ask him to draw you a drawing. He is. Like I said, he's Lord Burgundy in Lear right now.
Whatever,
It's
I'll give him
somewhere in
space.
Los Angeles. I don't know if he's got time to.
Look, I got a Daniel Johnston.
This is the last thing I want to say. Not the last thing I want to say, but I do want to make sure that people know Tom Berninger is playing Lord Burgundy.
I'm tweeting it tomorrow. I will
in
tweet
Lear,
it.
somewhere in Los Angeles.
And you'll give me the
this
theater
week.
name, and I'll make sure people go.
Okay. I think I have to ask him. He might not want anybody to go, so I might not be able to say anymore. But if you can figure it out, and you're a fan of Tom Berninger,
This will be this.
go check it out.
This isn't going to be.
But be respectful. It's a serious. It's a serious
Shakespeare.
production.
I'm not goofing off.
Yeah.
And these
I
listeners
know,
are.
I know people are going to want to go Lord Burgundy.
No, these are podcast listeners. This is appointment listening. They don't. They don't fuck around.
I know, but my brother's like if they see the movie, it's kind of like he's a fart joke kind of guy, and I think he's not. That's
not anymore. He's a Shakespeare guy.
He's a Shakespearean.
But I need a drawing from him.
Okay, I'll get you an actor.
Like I'm not kidding at all.
I'll give you. He'll draw you.
Like I get a lot of drawings from people off the beaten path, and a Tom.
Any specific kind of requests, he'll do anything. I bet it'll be like Lord Burgundy taking a crap or something.
No, you know what? Jay Mohr's got a podcast, and he's a huge fan of the band, and I loved him in the movie. Like whatever the hell he wants.
Okay, I'll ask him.
All right.
Yeah.
We're good.
Deal.
Everybody go listen to The National. Is there an album that you make more money off of than others?
No.
Because, comics, like, come see me on Thursday night. I make more money because I get the door, like, Friday and Saturday.
I'll say this.
Yeah.
There are two worse records, but the first two records we get the most money from because they're on our own label. And they're still
Make sure
pretty
it's
good.
a brass band record.
A brass land. Brass
land? What did I say?
Brass band.
You didn't let me finish. It's a... Go, look, you don't have to do anything you don't want to. You're a goddamn free spirit. But I'm telling you because you're listening to my podcast, because you like what I like. And you have my friends on. Yeah, you're a woodland sprite. And you like what I like. And that's why you have this podcast on your phone or on your device, The National. And I'm thrilled to just keep that. And now, look, I haven't listened to anything from Trouble Will Find Me because I'm not there yet. I'm still working my way through. Like I just got done with Boxer.
Okay.
So like,
take your time.
I'm thrilled. This is great. And Matt, you're my man. I appreciate it.
This has been awesome.
And I'm gonna be at the Improv in April, and you better be there.
Let's go sneak into Bill Hader's pool. He's right. I know he lives right around here.
I'll show you where he lives. He's right down the street.
Let's go.
Do you want to sneak into his pool or Sugar Ray Leonard's? No, fuck that. Kevin Nealon. Let's go. Home invasion. That's good. I got zip ties and duct tape.
Let's go.
Listen to The National. Put your name on it.
Standing at the pump, table swallowing punch. Can't pay attention to the sound of anyone. A little more stupid,